Hello and welcome to the TrainerWise Daily Show. On today's episode, we discuss the difference between running styles, where you strike with the heel first or the forefoot.
There's probably more likely you're going to get some type of chain reaction of events up the leg, like injuries and things like that, maybe
Hey, this is a call out to all strength coaches and trainers out there. If you would like to share your views on a given topic, just go to trainerwise.com. Fill out the contact form. Tell us the topic that's of interest to you, and we'll get you on as soon as possible. We're filling up shows at the moment, currently taking guest speakers. So please do take the time now to contact us there, and we'll get you on. Today's guest to discuss the details of the differences is Ryan Crandall from New Mexico, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were on before with Miss Andrews, and I wanted to have you back because you kind of had some poignant, discussion about the foot last time. I think it was about minimalist shoes and whatnot. But
Right.
I wanted to dive into that question: that what is the difference between the basic difference between running on the heel first, heel toe, versus striking on the ball of the foot upon landing?
Okay, well, there's typically three different types of landing when people walk or run. The most common one lately, based on how people wear their shoes, with the heel pitched over the forefoot, they tend to land more heel-toe. It's just been a little bit more popular in the last few years with the minimalist barefoot movement to land more midfoot and or forefoot. You said ball of the foot. I would say that they probably land more forefoot, midfoot than just pure ball, because pure ball of the foot is more like for sprinting.
Okay, gotcha.
The difference is when you land on your heel, the force there's a sudden force that goes shockwaves through the system, and you land and your forefoot plops down in plantar flexion, and then you go over that into dorsiflexion.
Right.
Whereas if you land forefoot, midfoot, you land kind of I have a foot actually.
There you go.
land more almost dorsiflex and it acts like a spring. So there's positives and negatives to both.
So yeah, I guess my question is, it just seems to me if you landed more forefoot, as you would say, or mid forefoot, that you're actually able to use more like the ankle complex than versus if you just land heel toe, you go calcaneus, talus, fibula, tibia. It goes right to the knee. I would imagine like the next joint up is probably going to have to absorb more force if the ankle isn't involved. You would seem also they would have maybe less time if the heel hit versus if the forefoot hit, and then you were able to maybe disperse the load across the low leg muscles and whatnot. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's kind of
what I've seen in the research that I've been reading. When you land on the heel, there's probably more likely you're going to get some type of a chain reaction of events up the leg, like knee injuries and things like that, maybe soft tissue injuries in the tib fib and that fascia that connects the two. If you land forefoot, you're not used to it, you can get soft tissue injuries in the plantar fascia, Achilles tendon. So, you got to go slow because you can get injuries either way. If you land forefoot, midfoot, great, but go slow and be prepared for it because there's a lot more force going through those tissues, and it's just like you don't just stick someone under a 300-pound bench press. You got to build them up to that over years.
Yeah, no.
Same thing with humans. We're designed to land that way, but we haven't been for years, and so you got to go slow, and you got to retrain everything, and you got to know how to land first of all. So you got to retrain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so don't just go read Born to Run and then go hit the pavement for like 5
miles. That's a great book, and I believe in those guys. And Barefoot Ted, I've actually talked with him, and they're good people. And and he didn't do it right away either. He's developed 50 miles of running through slow progression over time and listening to his body.
Yeah, key. I know when I'm a 4-footer every distance, and I remember I was running a little 5K. And it was through the UCLA campus, and I remember there was a certain point where I was trying to hustle, and I usually don't sprint a 5K, but I was sprinting pretty good, and I remember get fatiguing, and I remember kind of modifying my gait such that I would be more heel toe, just for a couple minutes to kind of rest a little bit, and then I got back to what I wanted to do. But I do think my own preference, personal experience. listening to what your body's telling you is important, especially when it comes to plantar fasciitis, because that sucks. Anybody who's had that knows. So that's a real important point. Let me ask you, what do you prefer? I mean, if like, let's say you have a child, I don't know if you have a kid or not, but if you do, and they're of, let's say, athletic age, let's say around 6 years old or 7, and they start participating in sports, and you start to notice that they're one way or the other, I mean, would you kind of retrain them to be a specific way? Is one better in your opinion?
Yeah, I would try to get them to run more midfoot, forefoot. I would say that that's the case, and I'm a big proponent. I'm barefoot all the time myself, so the fact that if you're barefoot, you're not going to land on your heel. It just hurts immediately. So you're going to land more midfoot, and I would teach that. I would tell them to land softer, land with shorter steps or shorter distance between strides, and right with the foot underneath, the center mass of the body.
Yeah, I gotcha. So random question. So my daughter and my two nephews live with me, and they're all around the same age. They're like, what are they? 9, 9, and 10. And my 10-year-old, like, he has legs, boy. That boy, he's a little muscular in general, but he's very heel toe. And he's played soccer. I'm like, dude, ball the foot. Your legs are already this short. I'm like, if you can get like another inch by landing on the forefoot, do it. Use it. But he loves it running on his heel. And boy, that boy's butt. We used to say he has like a muscle butt. He's so muscular. And I was just thinking, I wonder if landing on the heel lends more towards using certain musculature versus landing on the forefoot. I mean, that's kind of a random question, but you always hear trainers in the past saying, put the weight on your heel. You want to feel it on your glute when you're trying to emphasize. That's kind of like the old school hypertrophy mentality. But I wonder about that. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts?
He's going to run slow if he lands on his heel. I know that. When you land on your heel, your foot slaps down immediately. So you get a eccentric lengthening of that tibialis anterior, the muscle in the front of the shin, which can develop shin splints, I would say. I think that would be, you might get bigger tibialis anterior. I don't know about glutes, though. I haven't really thought of it that way. Yeah. I would think if you land more forefoot, it's going to turn on the posterior chain more. But that's how I look at it.
Forefoot. Yeah,
now, of course, if you're doing squats and you're driving through the heel, that's the best way to do it. Same with deadlifts, same with kettlebells, swings and whatnot. Of course, you want to drive through the heel, but when you're in gait, it's a different mechanism. It's completely different.
Yeah, I'd imagine. And I think just sharing the load across as many joints as possible is probably the smarter way. Hence me pushing towards him, running on the forefoot. I heard this before in the past. Distance is not the same as sprinting. If somebody was running a distance race, is it preferable for them to run heel toe or forefoot? Or what you're saying is forefoot is better in every instance, or is in some cases is it not?
What I'm trying to say is that it depends, which is not an answer.
No, let's go.
If you're used to running heel toe, and then your trainer goes, "Hey, you need to buy Vibrams," and then all of a sudden you start running midfoot without breaking your foot in, you're going to get hurt. But if you take the time and diligence to do it right, then I would say that you can certainly land midfoot, and you can train your body to land midfoot for an endurance race. Yes.
Now, let me just ask you this: what do the fastest runners, marathon runners, do? Forefoot?
What the fastest ones do?
Yeah.
Well, it almost looks like they're sprinting. I can't pronounce his name, but the guy that's ran a lot of marathon runners at marathon races from Kenya, he lands very, very much on his forefoot. In fact, your average podiatrist would say he overpronates, and like you can see on videos of him, like his foot just goes through crazy amounts of hyperpronation. But he uses that as a spring to propel him to the next step. I mean, he's running like 2 hours and 10-minute marathons on average, and I think his record is like 2:03. So that's a pretty amazing time. I mean, he lands, I would say, pretty much forefoot, midfoot the whole time.
Gotcha. And then, last conversation we had about Vibrams and minimalist shoes, I actually finally got a pair that look halfway decent. And I was just like, oh boy, let's see. And I'm already on pavement, so I'm already like not excited about this. And it's early in the morning, and I'm just like, oh boy, let's see how this goes. And so I ran, and this is my own experience. And I always run forefoot. So I thought I might do well, but I was just a little concerned being on concrete or pavement. And what was it? My left foot felt beautiful. I felt so fast, and then my right foot, probably in the three middle toes, just under really the ball of the foot. It felt, I don't know, there was some pain in there, and I just thought to myself that I don't know, it just didn't feel like they were absorbing force well, and I just thought to myself that I don't know, I don't want to guess, but I always guess with myself anyway, and I don't want to act like I know, I guess is what I mean. But I think that those muscles probably aren't used to being used. Maybe I had some tightness in those joints, and it actually made me want to continue to run, to test it, to see if it gets better. That's kind of my idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't keep running to test it, because also people that go from the regular shoes to minimalist shoes, and they start running, if they do it too quickly and too much, they're going to get stress fractures in these metatarsals here, and or plantar fasciitis problems. So I love the movement. I'm barefoot all the time myself, but it takes a long time. It's the said principle. It takes a while. It's the same thing. It's the same principle.
Yeah, what I meant when I say run all the time, I meant like I ended up resting. We didn't run that far, but I want to go back and do it again. Is what I mean. I want to kind of reintroduce it.
Walk before you run, and when you run, just run for 100 yards.
This is well. Thank you for coming on, because I'm one of these guys who's like, I can run in him. Come on, man. I'm a runner. I'm fast. I'm light on my toes. All that.
Especially on pavement,
Yeah.
Your foot's just not ready for that yet. It will be if you give it time.
Walk around barefoot is what you're saying.
You could probably learn to do the splits too, but if I just put you on the ground and just start stretching, it's gonna tear.
All right, point well taken, my man. No, I hear you. I think it's important for people to hear that, because they're gonna experience some pain, and then it's the whole ex-athlete thing, like, oh, I can do it. I used to be able to do this or that. That's kind of important.
It's the whole ego thing that messes people up.
Yeah. So it's what you hear sometimes. I'm messing around, but no, I wanted to say thanks for coming on, because I think it's an important point. I mean, these are questions that I've had that people have asked me. Even my client this morning when I was having a discussion, as I was telling you earlier, she was asking me, well, she said what I had heard always in the past. Well, if you're running distance, isn't it's okay to run heel toe? And I was like, I think it's probably okay. She goes, yeah, well, my husband, he was a really accomplished runner, and he was a Boston Marathon guy. He used to run heel toe all the time when he ran distance, but
and a lot of people do run fine heel to toe for their whole life, and they have very, very low incidence of injury.
So you're saying it's not necessarily
it always
a greater cause of injury.
Answer, they want this or that, and it comes to it depends. They can get the answer they want, but do they have the patience to go slow enough to get there? Most people don't. They just, I want to go running in my new V-rooms, and they haven't adapted their foot to the ground yet. And it takes months, not day.
So let me ask you.
Physical therapists love that movement, because then they get to rehab that, and that's fine. That's what they're there for.
Let me ask you. So the girl who was on before, Elizabeth Smith Andrews, she says she wears her V-rooms everywhere, but she would not wear with blue jeans. That's where she draws the line. So where do you draw the line?
Well, I don't wear V-rooms. My pinky toe doesn't fit, so I wear these Merrells, which are pretty much like V-rooms. They even got a V-room sole.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So they're not as some people find these a little more aesthetically pleasing. But I also, and this is even uglier. Look at this. It's a Croc. I run in these, and look how bendy these things are.
You run in those?
Try running those, yeah, and hike.
Really?
Yeah, really.
They don't slip off, huh?
Actually, they do not. You can try to do as many front snap kicks as you want, as hard as you can. They will not slip off.
And are you married? Just a side question.
Yes.
Oh, see, maybe that's what it is. You're like, I already got one. What do I need to be styling? Some people
like, the wife wears them too. We both trail run and Crocs, so that's the most comfortable thing I've found. That, or I've trail run and scrambled up rocks barefoot, so completely barefoot.
Hey, but what state? You're in New Mexico, right?
Yeah. We were in Vegas before. Las Vegas.
Hey, were you doing all that barefoot, hopping around in your Crocs and crawling boulders in Vegas as well?
Yeah.
Well, no, the Vegas does have like a rural side.
Oh yeah, the mountains of Vegas are very beautiful. If you look at my website, the very front page is me walking on a rock formation that's like a mountain. That's me, and that's Las Vegas in the background. That is the Red Rock Canyon area. So,
quick aside, is Jumbo Love over there? Are you familiar with that?
Jumbo Love?
Yeah, that's I think that's the hardest climb that Chris Sharma, a rock climber, has done.
Oh.
I think it was in Nevada. I think somewhere, and I remember he said,
"Yeah, rock climbing in Nevada." Yeah, it could very well be in the Red Rock area. I'm not aware of that route. I just scrambled there, so it's just kind of like bouldering and stuff like that. You don't need any ropes, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I know those guys who don't need any ropes. Those are the crazy ones. That's what I always say. Well, thanks for being on, Ryan. And thank you everybody for watching.
Peace out.
See, and real quick, if people want to get a hold of you, they want to get more information, because obviously you're telling me like, Daniel, you're an idiot if you want to keep running. If there are people out there who are also saying like, well, what about me? Maybe Ryan can give me some information. Where should they get a hold of you?
They can contact me through my website. It's FYI4all.com. FYI, the number 4all.com.
Okay, super cool, man.
And I'd love to field questions. That'd be fun.
Oh, super cool. All right, so thanks again. Out of here for real.
Show me a good time. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Show me a good